Lynsay, why are you a no?
I just think there's too much uncertainty, and I'm not a gambler, and I think the idea of independence is a good one, but I don't think we're there yet, and I think the foundations really need to be set first.
Do you think there is a large silent no vote from people who don't want to express that opinion because they would be seen as being unpatriotic?
Unfortunately, I think that's right. I'm very patriotic. I love Scotland. I've been born in Scotland. My sons are Scottish. But I just don't think it's right. I think altogether we stand stronger, and we are one island. You know, I just think there's, as I said, there's too much uncertainty for me, and sadly I do think people are going for the Braveheart sort of mentality, and oh, you're not patriotic if you're voting no, and I don't think it's anything to do with that.
Whereas, Mark, you think it's a risk you're willing to take?
Certainly do. Yeah, I've took risks all my life. Took risks to move out of England when I was 20. Took risks to move back to Scotland when I was 40. So, yeah, I've taken risks all my life and it's paid off. It's a gamble that I'm willing to take.
It's interesting to hear you describe it as a gamble. It's a big old gamble, isn't it?
It's a big gamble. Of course it's a gamble. Has to be a gamble. Any divorce is as Chris said, it's a divorce. And any divorce is a gamble. But it's how you separate. You can have this mentality of, we'll never talk to you again, and split up really badly and everything goes really bad. Or the politicians on both sides can sit down, which I think they will, sit down and amicably split. Works for Jersey, it works for Isle of Man, they all use the pound. So the currency union is fine. And as for it being run by a foreign country, it already is. It's no different. The currency thing is no different to it is now. Scotland's base rate is already set by the Bank of England, so it's quite happy with that.
It's split you as a family, and has done
only on the decision.
Of course, but up and down the country. Obviously, primarily in Scotland, it has the issue, the opinions of split families. There are people feel polar opposite opinions.
And I agree. I think it's a shame in a way that, irrespective of what the outcome's going to be tomorrow, you know, it has put a divide against people within Scotland, and you've got the extremists that think yes, and likewise for no, that make themselves heard. But I'm proud to say, you know, we can agree to disagree. We've got our own views. I mean, as often husbands and wives do, although women should generally be listened to, so I'm still trying to work on them. But yeah, unfortunately, I do think it will divide a lot of people within Scotland, which is a crying shame, really.
If it were to happen, messy divorce or amicable split?
You're asking the wrong person. Now, there'll be teams set up, essentially. So if there's a yes vote tomorrow, we'll know the results, by the way, about sort of 6 or 7 o'clock on Friday morning. If there's a yes, you've got 18 months to decide just a whole range of things, not just those that we've talked about. But what happens to the British Embassy in Washington or Paris or Cairo? Scotland will have the entitlement to 8.4% of that building. Do they take a couple of rooms? Do they go and rent an office elsewhere?
And the armed forces is something we haven't even touched on.
The armed forces, for example. I mean, you know, how many do you have? What assets do you take from the British armed forces? And the big one there, of course, is what happens with Trident, which is in Scotland.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll see what happens on Friday.